I think in general we see that this industry has a major challenge ahead. So everything is growing, but the people remain the same size. So we really have to think, how are we going to install the next generation wind turbines?
Offshore wind energy is an essential part of the successful energy transition in the Netherlands. Various projects are taking place within the program of the TKI Wind op Zee. For example, there is a consortium that develops a safer, faster and cheaper method to connect the turbine tower with the monopile foundation, the so-called C1 Wedge Connection.
I'm Jasper Winkes, I'm the Managing Director of C1 Connections. Right now in offshore wind, we see that turbines are getting bigger and the loads on the connections are getting higher and higher. And because of that, these already large bolts are not sufficient anymore. The C1 Wedge Connection uses a fork-shaped upper part and a lower part, which is essentially the foundation. And the fork slides over the lower part. And both components have elongated holes. And through these holes we push a fastener upon installation. And then by torquing or tensioning a much smaller bolt, we essentially pull together two wedges. And when those two wedges are pulled together, an upper block is pushed upwards and a lower block essentially pulls the fork downwards. And by essentially pulling the upper part and the lower part together, you create a pre-tensioned symmetric connection. Rather than having to torque a very large bolt, you now need to operate a very small bolt. And you can actually create a connection with a higher ultimate capacity and a much higher fatigue capacity.
In traditional connection connecting two pieces of tower, the transfer of the force is done through the bolts, and that type of connection is eccentric, as we engineers say. I am Milan Veljković, professor of steel and composite structures at TU Delft. This type of connection is designed so the most critical part is dry all the time, which means no corrosion due to the sea environment, or at least that type of corrosion is heavily mitigated compared to the situation where we have in traditional L-flange connection. The biggest benefits of C1 connection is that force is transferred from the upper segment of the tower to lower segment of the tower directly, without passing through the bolts.
In March this year, the technology received certification from DNV. And in order to get the connection certified, we had to pass three essential phases. One is the entire modeling of the connection. We have needed to demonstrate that the connection works using the segment testing that we've done, both fatigue as well as ultimate capacity. And one need to demonstrate that the connection can be built full scale for large wind farms.
Siemens is a global player in the offshore wind industry, and especially in Holland we have a great market share of over 80%. And of course we like to maintain that by means of all kinds of innovations. And this is one of them. I'm David Moordenaar, CEO of Siemens Gamesa in the Netherlands. Siemens Gamesa is interested in C1 connections because we believe that with new technologies we can install faster and safer our turbines. We came across C1 as a nice example of an innovative idea that can bring a lot of benefits to our products in the market. I think Siemens Gamesa is interested to develop together as a partnership. We strongly believe we can't do it all by ourselves. We need input from smaller companies, but also from the university and industry.
The TKI Wind op Zee has always had a supporting role, basically allowing us to get in contact with other companies in the industry, helping us with financial questions, essentially getting the parties together.
Are you also working on an innovation? And would you like to know what TKI Wind op Zee can do for you? Please contact us.